Welcome to Biz Help for You with host Candy Messer. Entrepreneurs like to focus on the big picture, like profitability, success, and a smooth running organization. But there always seems to be those little things like taxes, employee compensation, laws, regulations, and more. Now you can get the answers you need in one place. Join us today as we break it all down for you. Now, here's your host, Candy Messer.
Hello and welcome to Biz Help for You with Candy Messer. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found the information on last week's show informative. If you are unable to join us or would like to listen to the show, links can be found on our YouTube and Facebook pages, as well as multiple favorite podcast platforms. If you'd like to receive notifications on when our podcasts have been uploaded, please like and subscribe. And if there are topics you'd find beneficial or questions you have, please feel free to reach out to me at media@abandp.com. As I mentioned on last week's episode introduction, the last few weeks' shows are a little different as I recorded them all in one day. And because of the limited time, I recorded the content without their bio. So let me give a little info on my guest before getting into the recording. The funnel gamer Hawk Mikado is a 3-time international bestselling author, speaker, and publisher of Funnel Magazine. He's a top ClickFunnels certified partner, professional neuro-linguistic communication trainer, skillful business strategist, and the #1 funnel builder for authors, speakers, coaches, and consultants. Hawk's helped over 12 companies create a $1 million funnel, interviewed over 37 of the world's business leaders, and his launch funnel framework has helped over 11,973 people learn how to add 6+ figures to their businesses. His impressive background allows him to live the laptop lifestyle, travel the world, hang out at Disneyland Club 33, spend time with his wife, Kate, and daughter, Alwyn. Now to the recording of today's episode. So Hawk, welcome to my show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a blessing to be here.
Well, I'm looking forward to this topic. I think it's going to be great and entrepreneurs are going to learn a lot from it. And I would love for you to just tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, more than what I've just read in your bio, and how did you even begin working with funnels?
Well, being an entrepreneur from an early age, I discovered that I loved marketing, and so that ultimately led me down the path of figuring out that funnels were the way to be, the way to do business and the way to market a business. And I met Russell Brunson at a friend's event, at Steve Olsher's event. And he's like, there's this thing, it's called funnels. And then I was like, hey, I should totally learn how to do what you're doing. And we kind of been playing with lead pages unsuccessfully, mostly because it was a tech nightmare. And so we ended up buying ClickFunnels right after that event, started figuring out how the whole thing worked, and just fell in love ultimately, and knew that if we could get this beautiful thing that we understood theoretically up to that point to actually work, because ClickFunnels at the time was the tool we were using and was epic, and it streamlined our entire process. We started doing it for clients. We started doing it for other pet projects that we had, and it just became an everyday part of life. I started being known as the funnel genius because somebody they're like, he's the funnel genius. I was like, yes, I am. And then after my partner and I split, I did some soul searching and realized that I'm the funnel gamer, actually, which is my new persona and who I am.
Perfect. Now, in my business too, I'm starting to work with new entrepreneurs too, who are just starting businesses. So some of them may not have actually heard the term funnel and what it really means. So I would love for you to give a definition.
A funnel is really just how you communicate the value that you provide at a very incremental level. So each and every single step in the funnel is providing and communicating one thing. Usually step 1 is communicating the problem. Step 2 is communicating the solution. Step 3 being how you actually get paid is communicating your solution and making it as an offer. You can get a lot more complicated and a lot more intricate than that, but that is the base of a funnel. And each step It's basically yes or no. You either say yes or you get out of the funnel, as generally speaking. You can have no links that push them towards something else if you understand your customer. And as you get to understand what they want or don't want, you might add in ways that they can go down a different path. So as an example, our core offer and what we primarily do is help people grow their lists. And though some people primarily want to monetize their list. So I might have a funnel that's primarily about growing their list. And then it's like, have enough leads? And they're like, yes, I do. Great. Go check out how to monetize the leads that you have instead of growing a new list. And so they're saying no to growing their list and yes to monetizing. And they both would lead to the same offer in this case, because our end program is how to grow your community and profitize your list, which is profitably monetize.
Right. So again, for someone who's listening, who's saying like, great, okay, I understand the concept, but I'm not sure what I need to do in terms of creating these different things within the funnel. So I know, does someone go this direction or should they go this direction? Or maybe they don't need our product. Like, what would you recommend for how they would create that funnel?
I would look at how do you sell your product or service over the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just try to build a funnel based on what you believe people want, what's going to happen is you will most likely spend a lot of time, money, and energy trying to perfect and dial in that funnel. And that time could have been spent having conversations with people, which dials in the process and offer. So anytime I launched a program, it was over $100,000 for the program itself, and I didn't have a funnel for it. I didn't have a website for it. I literally didn't have anything for it. I had 20 conversations with people, and a couple said, yes, I want to learn more. And then we took that information. All those calls are recorded, by the way. Record every single Zoom call you get, transcribe it, and find out how people are saying and asking the questions, because everybody asks the same questions and pretty much in the same way. And then you figure out your talk track and you figure out how to communicate that message. And then you build the funnel. And that's the most profitable, most successful. Like all the people that I know that are successful out of the gate, like you look at 2 Comma Club and they're like, I made $1 million in 8 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, but you've also made almost $1 million or made over $1 million before selling this process just without a funnel.
So if someone wants to get this information and figure out, like I said, have these conversations, take the information that they get from these calls and then start creating the funnel, like how do they even start those conversations? Who do they call in the first place? Like, I mean, if the top of the funnel that you're going to create theoretically is how you're even bringing in those people, how do they start this process before they even have a funnel?
Yeah, so number one is go look at what other people in your industry are utilizing to grow their list, build a lead magnet around that. And if you're brand new, you've never made an offer, this is one of my favorite hacks or strategies to utilize is go find someone else's offer that offers basically the same thing that you do and has an affiliate program. I guarantee you there's always at least one person, if not a bunch of people, that offer the same, almost exactly the same thing that you want to offer. And it's going to be in a different way. It's going to be their way, right? You're going to provide it in a unique way. But you can then create content around that offer, use that content to grow your list and push them to your quote unquote competitor's offer, because they will ultimately become your competitor. But you can now grow your list and make money and get paid because you know that they have a proven offer. And now you've grown your list by 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people before you've ever even launched your offer. And another thing is always, always, always get name, email, and phone number, all 3 of those together. It's impossible to grow any kind of business if it's just email. And name and email, like email is so 2000. Like it's useful. Its primary use is following up with your customers. or retargeting. You can upload that list into Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google if you spent 50,000 plus with them, and a bunch of other platforms as well. You can upload that list and then find those people, but it's far better and easier to communicate with someone via SMS or picking up the phone and actually calling them, which a lot of people say, well, aren't you an internet marketer? And I go, yeah. And I still have valuable, meaningful conversations. If you have a product that's under $500 and you never want to do anything above $500, you can go for it. Like, you don't need that phone number. But in my belief, if you have anything $500 or above, you should have that phone number, because even if you don't want to call them, even if you absolutely hate being on the phone, there are literally tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people in Facebook groups that are commission-based salespeople that would love to call those people and offer them your thing and get paid a commission anywhere from 10 to 50% of whatever the offer is, depending on how much you charge. And so, get that list, grow it. Then you can communicate your message. You can follow up with your content. And some people are going to reach out to you by themselves. Other people, you'll have to do that manual outreach.
Right. And earlier when you were talking about find someone who has a similar, item that you want to kind of mimic per se, or have you obviously create your own around it, but send them to your quote unquote competitor. People would think like that's counterintuitive. Like, why would I want to do that? So I guess maybe just help them understand again, I understand what you were saying about building your list, but they might be like, but I don't know if I would want to send them to my competitor, because then they're not going to use my service.
So on average, you'll convert about 3% of your entire list in any given year. So just to keep that in mind. Now, if you got a small, and that's at scale, right? If you got a list of 100 people, you can convert a lot more because you're talking to 100 people and you're doing it on a regular basis. I had the same question asked to me. So I promoted literally my biggest competitor. This is the same person who, when I had my agency a couple of years back before my partner and I split, I would get on sales calls with people and they'd be like, why should I go with you versus Brian or versus Henry? Those were literally the only other two people in my industry that people would go to instead of me. And I ended up promoting Brian out to my entire list. And I got a ton of emails going like, why did you promote him? Isn't he your biggest competitor? And I go, well, did you buy from me? And they go, no. And I said, okay, well, that's why, because you didn't buy from me. If you bought from me, you wouldn't have got that email. Right. Because at the end of the day, and this comes from Chet Holmes, and I love this kind of this process, and it's in his book, Sales Machine. Yeah, Ultimate Sales Machine. 3% of your market, and the market as a whole is ready to buy right now. 7% will be ready in the next, usually couple weeks to couple months. 30% of your market will be ready usually in the next 3 to 6, maybe 12 months, depending on what kind of industry you're in. Another 30% of your market will be ready at some point in the future, and 30% will never, under any circumstances, irregardless of what you do, buy from you. You could be the best thing since sliced bread. And look, if this is a podcast, but I'm wearing orange glasses, and somebody could come up and be like, you know what? I don't like Hawk. He has orange glasses on. So I'm not going to buy from Hawk because he has orange glasses. And that it is the weirdest thing that people make up some of the most random excuses as to why to not buy from somebody. I know I've done it, and I look back and I go, wow, I don't even know what happened there. And it's human. We're humans, right? We're all human beings. So we make decisions based on gut or spleen or whatever your wealth, not wealth dynamics, whatever your human design is. I love doing assessments, so I utilize all of those kinds of things. But however you make decisions, you might go, no, I'm not interested. And the best and most powerful thing to do is to share other resources. Whenever I'm communicating with somebody, I'm going to refer them out. I refer them to 3 people, not 1, but 3 different people, because I know if I refer them to 1, they might buy. But if I refer them to 3, I'm pretty much guaranteed to get that commission.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a fact.
So again, I have some people that are newer thinking of starting businesses, or maybe recently started businesses as well, who are listening, and use a couple terms that they may not be familiar with that we think, are just things we're used to hearing. So I would love for you again to give the definition of affiliate and also retargeting.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I try not to use jargon. Sometimes I do. An affiliate is somebody who pays you a commission, pays you money to refer them business when they then sign up that person. So you refer your friend or mom or colleague or somebody you meet on the street to the pizza shop, and instead of them just saying thank you, they give you either cash or maybe free pizza, and whichever you prefer. And then retargeting is just how do I explain? Retargeting is you have a list of people, you have an email list, generally speaking, or and to get into more technobabble and jargon here, you get a pixel, which is a little thing that tracks who you are online. And then it says, hey, you didn't take the action I want you to take, so I'm going to put an ad in front of you that says, go take that action. You forgot to do it. So as an example, if you've ever gone onto Amazon and you click the checkout button, but you didn't buy, you might have seen those shoes followed you everywhere until you bought, or until you ultimately hit the expiration date of what they consider as the last possible time in which you would buy. So, whether it's a shoe or whatever it ends up being, retargeting is simply the process of getting your offer back in front of somebody who didn't complete the step that you want them to complete.
Right. So again, if someone's thinking, okay, great, I need to have some kind of lead magnet, I'm going to bring people in and I'm going to be able to have them go through this process until they get down to the product or service, that I'm selling. Do you recommend a certain platform that they create these through? Or like, how would you talk to someone about it's the first thing they're creating and how to have that process tracked and people go through that funnel?
Yeah, so we actually we built and have our own platform, and I love ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is pretty much the only alternative that I would say. If you have ClickFunnels, you also need about 5 other softwares in order to actually manage your business. We took all of them and put them into one. It's called FunnelBot, is the name of the software. And then the way to build your lead magnet is we built the process called a lead flow engine, and it helps you create the lead funnel, which is how you actually capture the leads. We built the lead magnet, right? So that's how you deliver the content that gets them excited to move to the next step, whether it's to book a call or to go register for a training or to go purchase a product or service from you. And we have the epic follow-up series. So that's the emails, text messages, tasks, all of the things that you need to do to actually follow up and convert those leads. And then the fourth is traffic getting content. So actually something that will let you drive traffic to the lead magnet, because at the end of the day, if you just have it, and this happened a long time ago, my very first client who ever paid me for funnel building services, he paid me $750. We built the whole funnel. And then he says, so how do I drive traffic? And I go, will you run ads? And he said, I don't have money for ads. And I was like, I never want that to happen again. And so we then had to learn. I didn't know how to run ads either at the time. But literally first client who paid me for this stuff, we then learned how to drive traffic through organic, through social, through paid, through podcasts, through pretty much every other platform out there. And there's literally hundreds of places that you can get traffic from. They all fall into 16 different categories that depend on where you are, how you're speaking to them, and how you want to communicate that message. So you just have to know where they are and find them, which is really just a research process.
Right. So if somebody, had come into this funnel and didn't purchase yet, they're not ready, it's part of that statistic. They're not ready now. Maybe they'll be ready in the next 6 months. How often should the business follow up with them just to stay kind of front of mind so they remember to come back to them?
Well, there's there's a couple different things. So email marketing, if you're going to do email marketing, and email is a core component of our software. It is also the least effective tool that anybody can utilize in their business, yet one of the most important to capture. It's this like catch-22 complete dichotomy. If you're going to do email marketing, you must send at least one email per week, every 7 days. Otherwise, Google says that you're irrelevant and they will put you usually in the spam box otherwise, or they will put you in some buried folder that no one will ever see your stuff. So at least once every 7 days. Now, statistically, on average, only 1 out of 10 emails gets opened. So if you send an email once a week, that means only 5 emails per year will get seen, which is pretty ineffective in all reality. Now, the way to increase that statistic is actually to send more emails, which is ironic because you would think it's the other way around, that by sending more, you'll get less opens and less people will see it. But it also has to be relevant content. So we generally recommend, if you can, send every single day. Now that's overwhelming, even to me. I don't want to do that myself either. So, if you want to not send every single day, sending 3 to 5 emails in a week is a really great kind of in-between place. And they don't have to be long. They don't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a 30-page document. As a matter of fact, it probably shouldn't be. The number one thing you want is to get opens and then ultimately get clicks. And if you can get opens and clicks, then Google loves you and Google will put you in the inbox. The third, actually, is actually better than anything, is replies. If you can get somebody to reply to your email, you will just shoot right up to the top of their inbox. So get replies, it's even better.
Nice.
The easy thing to do is record something, go live on Facebook, or write a blog post, or do literally anything that you want to do with your marketing, and then send people to it. Get on a podcast and be like, hey, I was just featured on this podcast. I figured you might want to learn about these things that I shared on this podcast. This is something unique and like a golden nugget that I shared that I don't share normally. And there's always one that you share in a podcast. In my experience. And so those are some of the things that you can do. So that's email marketing. The rest of the marketing depends on your audience and how you want to communicate with them. But ultimately, I highly recommend using text message and phone calls. And if you can, get into their Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or LinkedIn direct messages and actually communicate with them, or have a salesperson who gets paid a commission actually communicate with them and follow up with them on a regular basis. Every time you're doing an event, hey, I just wanted to invite you to this thing. Every time you're speaking on stage, hey, I wanted to invite you to this thing. Every time you come out with a new lead magnet, hey, I just thought you might be interested in checking this out. And the goal is to always be adding value. If you can show value, you can add value and communicate that value with mastery. Ultimately, they will see that and know that you're the expert that they want to buy from. So when they become ready and they are no longer in the 97% of people who will buy someday or never buy at all, you will now have somebody who's like, when I'm ready, I'm going to buy from this person.
Perfect. Well, we're short on time, so I do want to give you the chance to share an offer and how people can connect with you.
Absolutely. So if you want to learn more about how to build your own lead magnet and how to grow your list, grow your community, and profitize or profitably monetize your list, go to leadflowengine.com. Again, that's leadflowengine.com. Check it out. And through that, you'll be able to create your, figure out what you actually want to create as a lead magnet, go through the whole process, and get an invite to our training. We do a training multiple times every single month, live. You can actually ask the questions in person, and that is definitely the best way to connect with me. With that, you also will give us your name, email, phone number, and of course, one of our team members will text you and call you at some point in time.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise on my show today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
In the next segment, I interview Stephanie Engel on the subject, creating a course that educates and inspires. Before I share her tips, let me read her bio. Stephanie Engel, entrepreneur edutrainer from Advantage Engel, will share tips about creating course content that educates and inspires. Stephanie specializes in guiding entrepreneurs to hone their content and their delivery of that content to maximize impact and engagement. Stephanie is the best-selling author of the book Leap into Your Legacy, Beginning to Build Your Dream, and an up-and-coming TV producer on the Zondra TV network. As an experienced speaker and presenter at virtual summits and live events, she has shared her message of transformation. In her work as a consultant and other leadership roles, she's demonstrated a history of being a change agent in the lives of those with whom she works. Her experience in the field of education has equipped her with special skill sets to work with individuals who want to move forward as an edupreneur, taking your expertise to a larger audience. Stephanie develops and facilitates sessions, workshops, and trainings built on neuroscience, mindset, and brain-based research practices. She guides her clients through a process to hone their content and deliver that content to maximize impact and engagement. Her strong leadership abilities, coupled with an educational course creation background, provide the basis for a well-equipped and capable entrepreneur edutrainer who can move you forward in your personal growth and business goals. Now, on to the discussion I had with her in terms of content creation. So, Stephanie, welcome to the Biz Help for You show. I'm excited for today's topic.
Thank you. I appreciate being here today. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I wanted to just start off right away asking you about your tips for creating content or courses, because I'm sure there's some people who want to do that and aren't sure where to begin.
Oh, absolutely. When I take people through, I have what's called a transformation tract. And we start from where your customer is at to where you want your customer to be. And I ask people to think of 3 things that they want their customer to go through or do to transform from, the sad face of where I'm at to the happy face of I've learned what I need to learn and I can apply it now. So I asked them to identify 3 basically main points that they want their client or their participant in the course to learn, pick up, or transition through. And then the second thing that I ask people to think about is how will you connect the content that you have to the 3 areas of their heart, their head, and their hands. So how do you connect your information to pull them in and get their heart connected to your information to begin with? And then how do you give them or deliver the information? And there are several ways to be able to do that: video, PowerPoints, different modalities. And then when you're done at the end of each lesson, to be sure that you give them something they can do that is hands-on, that it is an action item and it's a quick win or a quick application to their business or to the transformation that you're looking at them working through. And then the last tip I have is please, 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 if you use a template or a sample or an item that you show people in your course, please give it to them for free so that they have that resource, that template to work through as well. If it's part of the course that you're using to walk them through a step, then just give them that template, whether it's an Excel document, a PDF, if it's a little video, if it's a Canva template. Make sure they have the link to that, because that's really important for them to take that next step forward for that transformation.
What type of materials should really be in a course? I mean, obviously you're teaching something, you're recording your own teaching a lesson or things like that too, but are there worksheets? Are there, like basically what should someone create?
I would highly recommend templates and PDFs to be put into your course. So if you're walking them through a process of step 1, step 2, step 3, give them a workbook page where they can record. Step 1, I'm doing this. Step 2, I'm doing this. Step 3, I'm doing this. If it is information where you want to have a diagram or a chart that they need to work through, make sure you have that also as a PDF and available to them. For my course, for the foundations of course creation. We use an Excel document. And so I give them the link to that Excel document within the very beginning so that we work through that together throughout the entire course, and they have that to build on and reference to. So you could have an Excel document. Other pieces and parts that people have put into their information also is templates. So if you're doing social media, for example, and you want people to build social media posts and items, then Canva, a lot of people are familiar with that program. If you can provide them with the template to start their social media posts, or give them the basic outline of how to upload that into their Canva and then change it. So you're giving them the template, and all they have to do is change it to their brand colors and put their wording on it. That moves your client forward in the transformation, and it also makes them a raving fan for you, because they're going to come back and say, I learned so much. They gave me all of this. I was able to work with it right away. I could move forward.
Is there a recommended length of time that either a specific module should be, or like the whole program overall should be when putting something together?
Well, I would not recommend 150 hours of talking head, which is a course that I took.
Oh, no.
So a basic lesson. So when you break down your course, you have the whole course, you have the module that talks about one of those 3 points that you are putting into there, and then your module has your lessons within it. And so each lesson should not be longer than 25 minutes. And that's from hooking them with their heart into your message, to giving them the information through their head, through closing out the lesson with that action item or the hands-on piece that they're doing. So 25 minutes tops. And then when you're looking at an overall course, most courses shouldn't go beyond 8 modules. That would be 8 weeks of working with your client, or 8 weeks of working with the participants. That way you can do it either as a standalone, and they're going to go through it quickly, 8 weeks or less, or you can do it as a blended model where you're dripping out one module at a time, and then doing like a Facebook question and answer period with them after each module is dripped out, so that you have more flexibility there to connect with the people that you're serving, that you're connecting your message with.
Is there a platform that you recommend for hosting the software that's making it easy for them to purchase and access?
I myself use Thinkific. I know that the hosts of Podapalooza, Kimberly and Jeannie, and that they work through Thrivecart. And I know that several other clients that I've worked with, they prefer Teachable. So those are, it depends on how you want it to function with your clientele. Some people want a membership base to be built into that. So Thinkific, Kajabi, Thrivecart, they all have that membership basis you can build into there. Others want it, I just want the course, let's just get it out there, so you can use Teachable. There's multiple platforms. And so when I work with clients, that's what we try and do, is tailor it to what is your ultimate goal for this course, and find that platform that really fits them.
Is there like a price range that is ideal for creating for courses?
I like to base it on every hour of the course is $100. So if you have a course that's 7 hours, you're looking at a price range about $700. So that's a really comfortable price point for clients, as well as for the people that are producing the coursework itself. It's a fair value for the return on investment of your time, for the value that you're providing for your clients.
Exactly. I know there's so much that goes into content creation and even thinking through the process. Are there like themes out there that are ideal right now for people that what they're searching for?
Well, the health and wellness is a big market right now, especially with everything that we've done with the pandemic and COVID. Um, there are many people out there looking for solutions to dealing with having being isolated or dealing with getting back into the public. So they're looking for that transition or those tips or the guidance, meditation, the healing process to move them forward after this pandemic and getting back to their full life. So that is a big area right now. Another one is starting your business. Basic startup from the ground up, from conception to your putting out your first commercial, finding your brand and making sure that your business is up and running productively. So those are two of the largest that I see right now in the searches and the research.
I know we're running short on time for today's interview, so I would love to ask if you have an offer that you would like to share for listeners and how they can connect with you.
Sure. If you would email me at stephanie@advantageengel.com, and I will provide you with free principles of basic course content, as well as a beginning course outline that you can get started with your courses. And again, that's stephanie@advantageengel.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Stephanie, for being a guest on my show. I know today we had a short period of time together, but even the few tips you were able to give us, I know are going to be helpful for the listeners. So I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you, Candy. I appreciate you as well. And hello to everybody, and hope to see you and reconnect with you again soon.
Thanks. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you found this episode interesting and that it answered some questions about sales funnels and creating content to educate and inspire. If you have any additional questions or comments, be sure to reach out to Hawk or Stephanie, or you can send us a message at media@abandp.com. And would you please share our show information with those you know? I'd greatly appreciate your support. I hope you can join us for next week's topic, how project management can save you time and money. And please remember, you can connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And my website is abandp.com. You can find the podcast posted on multiple favorite podcast platforms, including Google, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Until next time, have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next Tuesday. Have a terrific week.